Good morning, good morning. I'm Mango Jones, and this is part 4 of the Girl Defined Deep Dive into homophobia, transphobia, and bigotry. So, this is going to be a lot of fun, and I am joined by Slim Cyborg today.
Hello, everybody. Glad to be here. This is going to be lots of fun making fun of these people. I said fun way too many times, but it's going to be great
Say it one
talking
more
about
time,
these.
and I might actually believe you.
We're going to have fun making fun of the fun of the fun of the fun of the fun. There we go.
That's the one. As always, I do have donation stuff in the description. If you do not want to donate to me because I am just some random person on the internet, then please donate to the Satanic Temple Reproductive Rights Legal Aid Fund, helping to make sure that temple members all across the US get access to abortion services and helping to fight the different states' courts so that we can have the religious freedom of being able to get abortions. Wonderful. Also, in the description today, we have a list of different resource hubs for LGBTQIA plus individuals and their families. We've got CDC resources, GLAD resources, the Trevor Project, the Center in New York City, everything. So if you need any help, reach out, check out the description. Oh, let's see. Of course, Pearl is upset that Slim was first.
I know. I couldn't believe that I got the first message in.
uh, Jarn Saxa, did I pronounce that right? I hope I did. I would let you on, but I would like to get to know you throughout you chatting and participating first, just as a precaution, because I don't want something to happen and my channel get taken down. It's
Yes,
nothing against you personally, it's just a protective measure for my channel.
unless you're using a surname that we don't know and you're somebody that we do know, then let us know that or something. But
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
we usually don't let people on streams if we don't know you. So we like to get to know people first, and then So
Especially since this is such a divisive topic for a lot of people, I would much rather be safe than sorry.
yeah,
Ape, please be careful while driving around your truck and doing deliveries and stuff, please.
yes. Hello,
Good morning,
Sydney.
Sydney. And yes, I did love you first.
It's okay. I'll take seconds.
Ooh. Good morning, Blaine. It's so nice to see you here. Oh my goodness.
Hey, Blaine. Cool.
Ty, it's wonderful to see you this morning. And you better drive safe, Sydney, or else there's gonna be a problem.
Well, you might get spankings if you don't.
Ooh.
Or if you're not, or if you don't, maybe you won't get spankings. I don't know, whichever is the one you wouldn't want.
Okay, so we're gonna just like jump right into the wonderful world of Christian transphobia. So Kristen loves to misuse the word gender. She absolutely thinks that it's very much a binary, and it's not. Uh, her title for this one is Why I'm Not Jumping into the Gender Blender. Because that's lovely. I read a disturbing story recently featured in the New York Times. It was about a little boy named Alex who couldn't decide whether he wanted to be a boy or girl. He knew he was born a boy, but demanded that his parents let him wear dresses sometimes. He was a boy, but demanded that his parents call him a girl when he wanted. He liked the idea of being half boy, half girl. The article explained that Alex's parents were conflicted by his constant desire to wear dresses and play with Barbies. His mom, Susan, was struggling to embrace her son's feminine desires. She decided to seek help. What? Why would you want to seek help for your child expressing the things that they enjoy. Like, they're a child. If they want to wear dresses and play with Barbies, then they can wear dresses and play with Barbies. They're like exploring who they are as a person. It's
Exactly. Before puberty, I don't think that they understand or they're even caring about actual gender. They're just like, "Mommy, I like that dress. I want to wear it too." Or, you know, I began wearing dresses at 14 and 15 years old and wearing makeup in public. And when I went to school wearing a dress in ninth grade, they sent me home because they said I was a distraction. This was in the 1990s.
of
And
course.
in San Diego, yeah. And my parents sent me to counseling only because they thought that I was in the closet and that maybe through therapy I could come out of the closet or that I could, they didn't understand why their son who's going through puberty was dressing feminine. And I didn't ask it for anybody to call me a female or a girl. I was just like, I'm Landon, or, I'm Slim, and I just wear dresses.
Yeah.
But any kid under 14, under 12, if they're a boy, and especially if they have sisters and they're doing girl stuff, that's just going to happen. I mean, my sisters made me wear high heels and makeup in their clothes. I
Yeah.
know it's a little different in this case because they're saying that the child is asking to be called a girl. But again,
But it's a child. Like, why would you deny a child that? Oh, you're a girl today? That's great. Good for you. Let me encourage this. Let me encourage your critical thinking. Let me encourage the way that you want to live out your day, because it helps children to understand that they do have those choices in life as to what they want to wear, how they want to self identify. They get to make those decisions for themselves and assert that level of independence.
it's just like your daughter saying, "I'm a fairy today," or your son saying, "I'm a race car driver today." It's just role playing with innocence because they don't understand the concept of what they're actually asking or saying. Like, "I'm a pirate," running around with an eye patch, and it's the same difference until puberty, and then you hopefully are going to support that individual through the process of figuring out who they are, because that's one major thing I had happen. Well, I was going through therapy, but I didn't understand my body dysmorphia. I thought that I was a female born in a man's body because I didn't feel the same way that I thought the other men or all the other boys felt. Like, they all wanted to play sports, even though I played every sport, but they were gung ho about it. They're like, "Yeah, let's talk about sports and cars and women." And I was like, "I want to play, or, I want to do other things. I don't want to, who cares about football?" So, um, that's a major thing that needs to happen with these things is, once puberty happens, you need to give the positive direction
Yeah.
or support so that the person doesn't have mental breakdowns or doesn't become like what probably happened to me. I think I became a drug addict because I didn't understand myself and nobody did, and it was easier to just get drugged out and then not have to think about the weird things inside your head, you know. Um,
Yeah. Oh, and I do know Jarn Saxa, so that's a good thing. I sent them the
okay,
link.
okay, good, awesome, sweet. I'm glad that we know you. Just, we have to be careful when we do these streams because things have happened. Fortunately, not on my personal stream, but I have known many content creators who've gotten porn bombed or have gotten people
Yeah.
come on yelling crap. Um,
That's
Although I
actually
do
something
think,
that like one of the cows is really well known for, Brett Keane. If you let
mhm,
him onto a panel where you're talking to him about his fuck shit, then he
mhm,
will porn bomb you.
jeez. I think one time I did let somebody on for a millisecond who was just screaming. Oh, it was when I was doing gameplay, and somehow somebody got onto our audio channel and just started
Mm.
yelling the N word and yelling cuss words, and we got out of that quick. So it only happened for a couple seconds on one of my streams.
Yes, Pearlfish. seeking help on understanding your child is great. Don't
Yeah.
seek help to fix what you think might be broken because it's not.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to get at is positive support, or find them positive way to figure out what they are. Like my parents, they sent me to first went to a male psychotherapist or therapist. I don't know if they were actually a psychotherapist, but and he didn't seem to fit with me, even though his specialty was kind of transgender. Uh, uh, Men who dressed as women, because want to say transvestite. There you go. That's the word. He did work with them, but he worked with older, and I didn't completely have a connection. And then my mom found this female therapist, and her and I just like got along. We were just like best friends. She always wore these really cool stockings that were always like checkered patterned or colored or polka dotted, and she always wore these like cool little outfits. And so I felt like her and I could like be on the same page more than some dude who
Yeah.
doesn't understand wearing a dress, I guess, in public.
And Carnivorous Ape and Ty both agree that kilts are awesome, which yes, they are. I don't know why more men don't wear them, because like, don't you need to air out every now and then? I mean,
It does get a little chilly.
mm,
Testicles do get cold kind of quick, so that's one reason I don't. Well, one of the main reasons I don't wear dresses anymore is because if I wore them around here, I'd have to get in fights constantly because there are too many rednecks around me. You see Trump flags still on pickup trucks as people are driving down the street.
oh, we get the
But
beautiful combination of the Trump flag with the Confederate flag on flagpoles around here,
oh yeah,
and it's it's so terrible. I fucking hate it here.
yeah. And then the other reason, and I do wear kilts and I do wear loincloths, breechcloths, and other types of garb like that when we do certain types of events. But it does get drafty. So if you have a draft in there and you're wearing a kilt or a dress, like man, your balls start going in your body and it's not fun.
Yeah, no, that doesn't sound very comfortable. Okay, so
Yeah, let's keep going.
Susan was quickly advised by modern psychologists and doctors to affirm Alex's choices by encouraging him to express his unique gender desires. Yes, thank you. Good job. Go psychologists. She listened to their advice. She let him wear dresses in public. Good. Play with Barbies. Awesome. Prance around the house in feminine ways. Great. Called him a girl. Excellent. Several months went by, but she was still struggling to fully embrace Alex as half boy, half girl. She commented, "It's hard to put a finger on why gender identity makes such a difference to our sense of who a person is, but it does." Regardless of what the professionals told her, something deep inside her just didn't feel right when she saw her little boy wearing a dress. Well, that just sounds like Susan needs to talk to her own fucking therapist. What? Figure out why you dislike your child so much. Shit. Look, that little thing she couldn't quite put a finger on is something God has built inside all of us. I shared that story about Alex with some family members. One outspoken family member quickly blurted, "Well, why don't the parents just say, 'Hey, Alex, you're a boy. You're not a girl. Let's put away the dresses and learn how to be a man.'" A solution like that might seem obvious to us, but it's not that obvious to our culture anymore. We now live in a culture where parents are counseled to allow their children to change their gender identity at a whim. In fact, the woman who wrote the article about little Alex boldly stated, "I would argue it's not even ethical to say to a child, 'This is the gender you must be.'" Wait, it's not ethical to affirm a child's God given gender? Not ethical? Listen, girls, this is the crazy kind of thinking we're up against today. Excuse you, bitch. What?
She's acting like this child randomly decides it wants to be a unicorn one day, fairy the next day, something else, something else. No, honey, it is saying that it would like to be more feminine. And I felt this the same way. Some days I felt like more of a woman, and some days I felt like more of a man. So it mattered on what day it was, on what I did. If I dressed just, more masculine or more feminine. That isn't them changing their mind constantly. It's not like in the middle of the day, I'm a boy, now I'm a girl, now I'm a boy, now I'm a girl. Oh, now I'm a unicorn.
No, it's
It's just,
today I feel feminine. Refer to
yeah,
me as a female. I'm
yeah,
going to wear dresses. We're going to play with Barbies. And then maybe after a few days, Alex is like, today I feel masculine. I want to go run around in jeans and boots and step in the mud and do masculine things. But it's unfair to tell a child, no, you can't wear a dress just because you happen to have a penis in your pants. Like,
exactly. And then another thing that's easy to do, instead of telling the kid what to do, enroll them in football, or let them experience something with the boys and see if they enjoy that. If they don't, then you try. That's the only thing you can really do, is just try to put them around more masculine type activities with other people that are the same age range doing stuff, and then see, because I played baseball, basketball, football, everything, and I just, after a while, was like, sports aren't my thing. I'm athletic. I just would rather like do other things. And then I became a skateboarder and then a pole vaulter. I mean, so again, just try to, because maybe the influence in their life is all feminine.
yeah.
Where that can happen if you have a bunch of sisters. Like I have two younger sisters and a younger brother. So I had femininity around me constantly. My mom was a single mother for most of my life, or part of my younger years. I was around women most of my life. So did that play into it? Probably a little bit, but not 100%. So that's the thing, is if you want to try to help influence, maybe, or see if they're interested, maybe he is interested in boy things and just sees dresses every day. You have to work with them, but don't tell them what they are or what they aren't.
Yeah, you have to let them explore their own individual identity, because if they don't, then they're just going to believe whatever the fuck you tell them they're supposed to be, what their life is supposed to be, and they won't have that independence. They won't be able to think in the future about, oh, this is what I want out of my life, not what mom and dad want for me for my
Yeah,
life.
and it causes like PTSD, or it causes mental trauma and stress, because you're like, oh, I can't be what I want to be. I have to be whatever they want me to be, or them, or grandma, or dad, or mom, or whoever it is that's pushing these things on them. So that's when people usually get very self-destructive internally, start drinking when people aren't looking, or hiding their drinking, or doing hard drugs or other escapism type activities, which is very self-destructive.
Yeah, it really is. Oh, good morning, Mindy. And oh, thank you. You're so sweet. I hope you enjoy your game.
Yes.
Oh, wait, which game are you playing today?
Hello.
Love to know. Okay, so we live in a time where gender confusion is on a massive incline. It's not gender confusion. You're still stuck thinking about the word biological sex. Let's remember this. You're stuck in biological sex. You cannot properly identify what gender identity actually is.
And really quick, there have been transgender people in history since Egyptian times, feudal Japan era. There's writings about people that, and then there's also gods and goddesses in most cultures that are either a trans version of them, or they can be a male or a female, or Zeus changed into animals and had sex with people, like this isn't new, anybody. It's old. It's just you don't know how to deal with it, or your Bible says that, oh, it's somehow bad, even though then in the next paragraph or the next book it says it's okay. I mean, literally, you can find something that says things are good and bad almost simultaneously, literally, there's a thing that says murder is bad, but then murder is good,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, God's out there, murdering all these people in the Old Testament, like forcing miscarriages upon women that they think may have been unfaithful, even if they weren't.
Yeah.
And then in the New Testament, it's just like, oh, you're supposed to love everyone. Love thy neighbors. You would love yourself. Well,
Yeah, Jesus is hanging out with the prostitutes and the lepers, where in the Old Testament God was killing those people because they were unfit or whatever. So it's
yeah,
just all silly hypocrisy.
it's massive hypocrisy. And women like this that were educated at their dining room table and don't know how to function in normal society can't wrap their heads around the hypocrisy. They're just like, oh, yeah, Jesus, good. Yay. Oh, no. Oh, well. The average person used to consider themselves either a man or a woman. Two options, no more, no less. Not true. We just went over this. Come on, Kristen, keep up. Now the options are endless. Here are a few of the many gender identities available today. Take your pick or don't. Oh my god, it's not a fucking sale, you bitch. Agender, androgynous, bigender, gender fluid, gender questioning, gender queer, trans masculine. I could list a bunch more, but you get the idea. Well, yeah, they're identifiers. They're so people can properly identify themselves and know in their own hearts who they are. Like, that's all it's about. It's not about you and your fuck shit. It's about them and their happiness.
And then if this was so new and recent, why are there so many qualifiers for these different types of humans?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it took a while for people to come up with what these things are and going through therapy and getting reassignment surgery and all this stuff. It's been around for a hot minute. Just because you don't know about it doesn't mean it hasn't been around.
Yeah, Blaine, you're correct 100%. uh, you're the best, Blaine. I love that you're here. Oh my goodness. Gender identity isn't viewed as a simple concept anymore because it's never been a simple concept. It has become an ever growing jungle of tangled vines, and the vines are growing at rapid speed. It's not really all that tangled. Like, what? As Christian women, we must refuse to get sucked into this crazy gender blender world. Our culture, with Satan's help, is genius at blurring God's design and making distortion the new normal. You and I can't allow what our culture glamorizes to seduce us. What? I refuse to jump into our culture's gender blender. Good. No one would have you. We get it. You got a vag. You are a woman. You've got soft curves and good looks. Cool. Fuck all the way off. Jesus Christ. We don't need psychologists and doctors to explain gender to us. Well, yeah, we kind of do. We have the creator of the universe explaining things to us. Why do you think God gave us such a detailed account of the creation of humans in Genesis 1 and 2? Because he wanted to clearly show what he created and why.
Once again, I'll say this: if man was the only being and that woman was made of him, his rib or whatever, that means that she's trans. The
Yeah.
first woman is trans technically because she came from a man. So explain that, honey. So I mean, to me, there's not two genders. It was one that made two, which kind of makes the three. And then in medicine, don't we find out that people have like weird XY chromosomes and stuff? Isn't there like the in between
Yes.
XY or whatever?
There's also people that like have multiple X and Y chromosomes all at once. They are intersex. It's very much never been a binary. And even with biological sex, there is no set binary because there are intersex people, because there are so many ways that your genetics can be like, oh, we're going to add all of these extra things in. Oops.
Yeah, exactly. So how do any of these people explain somebody born with both genitalia?
Oh, they
'Cause-
don't. Those
no,
people are of Satan and the Antichrist.
yeah, and somehow we're like yeah, made from a demon, or some unholy thing happened to make them or something. Which I thought God made everything, and God is all knowing. So how did God let? Never mind.
Yeah, they wouldn't get it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And no, Pearlfish, God did not do the writings in those books. It's almost as though there have been multiple translations in multiple languages and multiple people changing wording, and it's a thing. We'll discuss it.
Yeah, when you have people who wrote it and then other people who put it together into something, and then you have other people translating it into other languages and then rewriting it and blah blah blah. The great thing I love about the Bible, it says man is fallible. He will always screw up everything. Is pretty much what the verse says. I don't remember word for word. So if you had let man write the Bible, he made it wrong. He wrote it down wrong. So the Bible is wrong with their own admission of how man can't do things right or won't do things right. So
Yeah. Man fucked everything up. We were a bad decision. Whoever
let's
decided that we should exist, just they were wrong.
yeah, let's go back to the dinosaurs.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Uh Sydney, I absolutely love your mindset. You are the type of people that we need in our lives, and we love you dearly. And your daughters have been so lucky to have such a wonderful, amazing, supportive mom. Oh, yeah. No, God only makes the things I like. He only sees the things I like. Duh. You're muted.
Yeah, you're right, Blaine.
uh, well, you see, you could ask them questions like that, but they will try and tell you that when the clump of cells in the womb is growing, it's really already a baby and the gender was already decided, and they have all of these excuses, okay? Like they don't understand how actual fetal development works, considering that they say that abortion is still baby murder when it's removal of a clump of cells, but it's a thing. It's
Yeah,
always
they
a
think
thing.
they think instantly there's just a baby in mommy's tummy, and it sits there for 9 months fully developed for the whole time, which definitely is not how it works.
No. I went over the fact that fetuses cannot feel pain until after viability, which is 24 weeks, which is why there is a cutoff of 23 weeks 6 days for later in pregnancy abortions. It's really not that complicated, but they love to make it sound it.
And I swear that there is a thing in the Bible that says abortions are okay. I just don't know where it's at. And I think it's the Old Testament. And I think under certain, I don't remember. I'll have to do a little bit more research. But they're just picking and choosing what they want to pick out, which is
Oh yeah,
that it's wrong.
they absolutely cherry pick what verses they want to use and when, so that they can support their ideals. It's just like whenever they do an article where they have sources cited that aren't the Bible, it's confirmation bias. It's never anything educational. It's never anything that's an actual peer reviewed medical journal. It's nothing that would require them to think harder than going to their favorite Christian website. And yes, the Bible is the best documented game of telephone in the history of ever.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of how things get screwed up is telephone.
Yeah. It was always such a fun game to play as a kid. Oh. God decided to handcraft humans that would personally reflect his image. He wanted you and me to see a glimpse of who he is in ourselves. So what did God create to reflect his image? Did he create Oh my god, did he created beautiful editing here, wonderful. 100 different gender options? Yes. Yes. Did he created what the shit? No, he created the male and female, no more, no less. In our new book, Girl Defined God's Radical Design for Beauty, Femininity, and Identity, we talk about the fact that God created two genders on purpose. We dig into the fact that God created the male and female to reflect the character, nature, and image of God. This was an intentional design. Satan has been around since the beginning of time, and he knew exactly what God was doing. Being God's archenemy, he hates everything that reflects God. Satan wants to mess up God's image by distorting what the male and female reflect. By embracing or accepting more than two gender options, we completely undermine God's intentional design.
And Satan has not been around forever. He was Lucifer in heaven, and then God got mad at him and threw him down and made him his own thing. And so, even though they say that the snake in the Adam and Eve story was Satan, the snake was the Satan trying to. But if God's all knowing, God knew that that was going to happen, so He set us up for failure. Never mind.
Yeah, they don't quite understand the concept of reading comprehension. But when you're educated at your dining room table by your mom, who was also probably educated at her dining room table, it
That is my favorite phrase that you say, Mango, is dining room table educated. I love that phrase so
yeah,
much. It makes me giggle. Because it
they
is. No, I
attended the
get
school of the
it.
dining room table.
Yeah, it was their mom and their dad and probably their grandma or something going, this is what you got to do. Listen to the pastor and, giving you
Oh,
all the
see,
horrible advice.
oddly,
And
their dad runs like a maid service. Like, you call up, they
okay,
come and
okay.
clean your house and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really more so like their mom was there doing, the good Christian woman thing at the school of the dining room table and teaching ignorance and hatred and uh
Do we know if they were homeschooled?
yes.
They were?
Uh
Okay.
we know for a fact that their family does the homeschooling thing. They did allow their kids to attend like homeschool events where they would get together with other Christian homeschool kids,
Okay.
and they were allowed to play sports with those other Christian homeschool kids in like the homeschool, basketball and football league and shit like that.
Uh-huh.
But it was all a part of, their little hive mind.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I don't know who it was. It was some Christian radicalist who said that I don't remember, but said homeschooling is going to be better for kids than going to public school because they will get more social interaction being homeschooled. Yeah,
No.
exactly. That's the complete opposite of what happens when you're homeschooled. You're not put into situations where you're going to learn how to be social or interact with different things. They were saying that you're only going to interact with people your same age, and so you won't get a large range of people of different ages you're going to interact with. Well, when you're homeschooled, you never really leave your house, honey, and you're only going to talk to your parents. So you're not getting actual street
Oh, maybe they
experience.
mean when, like, the kids go with their parents to the grocery store. Maybe that's the social interaction they're thinking of, where you just
Yeah,
awkwardly look at other people and try to not be forced into a conversation.
yeah, and or your parents are telling you because you're the child, be quiet because you're in that forced structure. So they're just telling you to be quiet anyways and to not talk to anybody or not, you know what I'm saying? So you're just making them more closeted or more as a shut-in. You're turning them into an incel pretty much.
Yeah, it's people need to quit doing that. Like, oh my god. It's one thing if you're child has certain illnesses, your child has certain medical issues in which they need to be at home to do schooling, but
Hmm.
they still attend, events with other peers their age
Yeah, they're
or
definitely
around
need.
their age.
Yeah, they definitely need to be involved in other things like that, where they get out with people of their age range. Because that's another thing is you don't want your kid hanging around a bunch of teenagers if they're not. You don't want a kid to be only around adults. You need them to be around their own social structure so that they have a balance, or they understand what it's like to learn how to exist in a society.
Yeah, and like schools are tiny societies in and of themselves. And you've got all of these kids that pretty much figure out their own social structure, which is why we end up in like high school and middle school with things like cliques, because everyone is figuring out where they identify, who they identify with. And while sometimes it can get really toxic, as long as you teach your child to not be a dick, then everyone can get along just fine. But parents, seriously, quit teaching your kids to be dicks. Like,
Yeah, they aren't. They don't get an award for everything. You got to teach people that there's a good and bad, and a good way to be social and a bad way to be social. Like, don't let your kids grow up to be a Karen.
yeah. But of course, we're going to end up with so many Karens. It's sad. It's a sad, sad world. Uh, no, it is not like sexy maids, because these are fundamentalist Christians. So I'm pretty sure they do like, the buttoned up polo shirt and like loose fitting pants so that you can't see their curves, because heaven forbid you have a curve. Watch out. People are going to look at you in a sexual way no matter what. We must stand strong against this blended mess. We can't jump into the gender blender with the rest of our secular society. God's image and glory is on the line. No, it's not. It's not a fucking battle. Jesus Christ. There's a lot of false teaching out there and a lot of persuasive media. I challenge and encourage you to study God's design for the male and female. Always use your Bible as the only source of truth. The Bible is not a source of truth. The Bible has never been a source of truth. If you think that the Bible is a source of truth, you are wrong and you need to stop it.
Well, and it doesn't explain any of this bullcrap. It barely mentions it. So where is the whole book that talks about transgender, or talks about sex, or gives us any information other than don't have sex until married?
Yeah,
There's no
like,
information in the Bible about it.
there's never been any information in the Bible about it. Like, uh, you've got Jesus going off being nice and sweet to everyone. You got God being a dick. It stands to reason that maybe you should listen to Jesus and be cool. And like, yeah, what? I don't get it. Please help me get it. Okay, let's. We're gonna switch over to the next article, which is she uses the word genderation instead of generation. Genderation, because that makes sense. Oh, no, you see, Gray Man, underneath those conservative clothing, according to good Christian women, are like the Mormon style modesty undies, I guess. I don't know. They've never actually talked about what they wear underneath their clothes. I bet they're naked under there. What sluts?
I just imagine they're wearing like the old school pantaloons and like the tie up like corset, like just like the old school like Victorian style stuff. Like takes them an hour and a half just to get dressed because they put on so many layers. I feel so horrible for their husbands.
Oh my gosh. Well, no, see, Bethany, she loves to talk about her and her husband's sex life now. Like it's pretty much all she posts about on Instagram. Like she's bragging about, her good Christian sex, and it's just like, please stop. We know you're not attracted to your husband. We know your husband is not attracted to you, and you got married because you didn't want to turn fucking 30 and not be married. You didn't want to be an old maid according to your Christian lifestyle. Got it. Good. But don't. Please don't.
I I still keep getting the lesbian vibe from both of these ladies. Like I think they're just so in the closet and want to pretend that this is, well, we got to go by God's law or rules, but I swear I keep getting a lesbian vibe from them.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they are, just like based off of all of the shit that they've written. It I don't get it. I can't with them. I can't. So, Kristen loves to write these blog posts. She loves to regurgitate the same information over and over. So, let's see what she has to say about thinking clearly in the most dysfunctional GENDERation ever. Yeah. It's a lovely title. Well, of course Satan would say that. Like, at least he's polite enough to use lube. Hey, Vila. It's nice to see you, love. Yes. Yes. They are very much white. They are very much hetero. And yes, their sex is more than likely always in missionary, because anything else is a sin. Probably. I don't know. I have fun in other ways, but it's private stream. Yes. They probably have been experimenting with each other.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. It is only a sin if it's man with man. And no, nothing in there says anything about woman on woman.
Yeah, I've had that brought up before, so yeah, exactly. But my favorite
Oh,
interpretation of a man should not lie with another man like he does a woman means when you're having sex with a man, you have to bend him over. So it's not the same. So it's not saying don't do it. It's just warning you, hey, you gotta do him a different way.
yeah, exactly.
Tickle the chap's balls first. It's just, that's all they were saying in the Bible.
uh, I just, I am so confused about them, to be perfectly honest. I don't know why they're like that. I don't know what they've been up to or anything. It, why do? Why do people? I don't get it. Okay, let's see. But I mean, if there's the pillow under the hips and anyway, you can make it fun. Just a thought. Shh, gray man. Shh.
Well, I misconstrued it when I first heard it, and I invited the whole mission over to watch me have sex.
Oh, I
I thought it was
mean,
missionary sex. I thought they wanted to watch, and then they told me that's not what it was.
um, they should have been more clear. Every generation has its thing. The 1960s brought about the sexual revolution, rebelling against God's design for sex. The 70s brought about the no fault divorce laws, minimizing the long term commitment of marriage. The 70s also brought about abortion, the decision to redefine the value of our smallest human life. Clump of fucking cells, bitch. Clump of cells. Clump of cells.
And once again, there were lots and lots of people dying from getting illegal ones or backyard or alley versions. So it was causing a lot of harm to society being illegal. It's Remember, honey, just because something's illegal doesn't mean it doesn't happen. We made murder illegal. Doesn't mean people don't murder people anymore, So that's why we had to make it. Well, human rights is why it got, but that's part of it. Is they found out, oh my God, like a gazillion people are freaking dying because they're getting these horrible things done to them, or they're ruining their uterus, or being disabled from it, or something bad is happening. Okay, well, let's make safe access to it, so then we don't have a harmful society, or this these people getting harmed. And there are times where and I think, Mingo, you've talked about this, where the birth isn't going to be healthy for either party, especially the mother. So they're like, okay, well, we have to do something about this. So there has to be legality somewhere so we can take care of society.
Right. It's all a matter of, you need to do everything that is best for you. You need to focus on your health, your safety, and the fact that people like this they want to push this narrative of, oh, you're destroying a tiny life when it's not a tiny life, pisses me off to no end. To no end.
If the human body gets rid of those things naturally, then you can't tell me that I'm doing anything wrong. I already ejaculate the sperm. It comes out no matter what. And then once a month, your egg in the female will be ejected, and there will be a new one that replaces it. So if there was those processes weren't happening, then I could understand maybe a little bit more. But literally, it's just the process happening. You just stopped it from going further. It wouldn't have been there. But then, you know what I'm saying?
There we go. Okay. So one thing leads to another. One compromise becomes the foundation of. It's not a compromise. It's never been a compromise. Jesus. And now this generation has brought about some of the most radical changes of all, the total redefining of marriage and gender. Some are calling it the gender. No one's calling it the GENDEration. Slim, have you ever heard that before today?
No, not at all. And when did she post this bloggy thingy-mabobber?
This blog post is from 2016.
Okay. She's acting like this is new. We were going through this in the 1990s, so I don't know why she is freaking out. And I've never heard GENDEration. I think she thinks she's cute because she thinks she came up with something, but
I mean, to make the claim that other people are calling it the GENDEration when, as a member of the, alphabet mafia, I have never heard that before.
Yeah, exactly. Neither have I. And I've been in the scene almost 30 years now, pretty much, or, been around people who are different genders, or, going through different sexualities and stuff. I mean, my best friend's mom's best friend was a trans female prostitute, so I mean, I've been around it since I was like 14 and 16 and stuff like that. So there are always people who are not their normal gender at that house that we hung out with. So I
Yeah.
mean, but never heard that word.
Of all the generations in the history of our nation, no generation has thrown out the gender rule book further than ours. Okay, so Bethany, Kristen, please listen to me very closely. You guys are also millennials. I'm a millennial. It happens. The oldest of millennials are turning 40 this year, Slim. So, you know, it's not that we threw out any sort of rule book. It's that we took everything from generations before us and we are just exemplifying what other people have tried to cover up. We are exemplifying what other people need to know about. We are taking these different gender identities, this different gender structure, and we are putting it in the forefront of our lives. We are trying to represent them in a actual good way in television, movies, books. We are trying to make it to where everything that is seen as abnormal when it comes to gender and identity is put into the forefront as natural part of life. It's as
I
simple
have
as.
Yeah, I have an interesting question, more for the side chat because you all can look this up a little bit easier than I can right now, and we might talk about this a little bit on Cookie Stream. When did the first gay bars become legal to open in the Americas, or let's just say in the UK?
Hmm, that is a
I
good
want to say
question.
the I want to say the 70s, maybe 80s, when you could actually have them be open. So it's been going on since then. There's been transvestites and trans people going into those establishments since then. So again, it's been in public for a long time, honey. This isn't anything new. You're acting like the kids nowadays are being no. It's just we're able to be more open, and now the parents are more understanding with their children to say, "Oh yeah, Billy, okay, wear a dress for today," you know.
Yeah. Or that poor little kid Alex, whose mom Susan just doesn't fucking get it.
Oh, I forgot about this. So during Benjamin Franklin's time, they used to dress all boys as little girls.
Oh,
So
the color blue used to be for girls and the color pink used to be for boys.
yeah, so if you look it up and you actually look at photos of Benjamin Franklin and a couple other people in the colonial times, is that what that era is called? Anyways, you see a bunch of paintings and drawings, of the family, and the little boys will be put in a little dress. So actually, parents were doing this for a while. I think in the Victorian era they also did it as well. Like I want to believe. Um, if anybody can prove me wrong, go ahead, because that's why we like doing these things. If I get
Oh yeah.
something wrong, please let us know. But I believe that was happening during different parts of time, and then also like in India and stuff, you wear like these almost like a dressy type thing, so the babies and the kids, like when they have an accident, they're not in pants.
Yeah.
It's like easier to clean up, and you can change the diaper by just flipping up their little long shirt like thing, kind of. I don't know what they're called. I wish I did. Same with Native Americans and other cultures.
I
You,
learned something new. The longest running gay bar is actually in New Orleans and has been around since Prohibition.
Sweet, perfect. So there we go, honey. And I'm talking to what's the lady's name that we're
This
reading
one's
from?
this one's Kristen, but I mostly call her Krusty.
Okay, so Krusty, just to let you know, honey, since 1930s, there have been people, because I want to say that a gay bar didn't just have straight-looking men coming in and getting together. There had to have been people who were dressing whichever way they wanted, and the only thing I could see is, unfortunately, gay bars and lesbian bars have been very segregative. Sometimes there is mainly a gay bar, which is men, and mainly a lesbian bar, which is women. And sometimes there's not very much interaction, but that's because there has been problems with straight people coming into those establishments of the other gender and causing problems, especially in like a lesbian bar where you have like a straight man come in and then he'll be like trying to hit on everybody, and then the big girls have to like kick his butt and kick him out of there. So there is that kind of segregation, but there had to have been around the 70s and 80s that people were dressing in whichever way they want to and going to these establishments.
Yeah, you're right, TIE Fighter Jet. Fuck modern parents for not wanting to give their children lifelong trauma. Fuck them.
Yeah, screw them.
Welcome.
Hello, the V.
Okay, so it's getting to the point where it means nothing to be male anymore. What? Where it means nothing to be female anymore. Where it means nothing to be married anymore. While many people applaud these modern decisions as great accomplishments, we couldn't be further away from success. Our nation is headed towards disaster, and we're too busy applauding ourselves to recognize it. We're too busy partying on the Titanic to see the giant iceberg ahead. In the history of our entire world, every powerful empire that ever existed, which openly redefined gender and marriage, ultimately fell to destruction. Why? Because thriving nations are built on the backs of strong and functional family units. What the shit? No, it's not.
What? Like, legit, what?
Yeah.
The first gender reassignment surgery happened in, what was it? 1882.
Okay.
In Denmark.
No, see, anything that
Denmark
happens outside of
destroyed.
the U.S., anything outside of the U.S., they don't comprehend it. They cannot understand it. These are the same women that, like, still misuse the word gender in articles and claim that there's only two. So, you know.
Right, damn. That is just dumb. And Slim, like, yeah, you're right. Boys used to wear dresses up until like the age of 3, 5. Something like that. Boys and girls wore the same sort of clothing in the Victorian era, in the Tudor era, things like that. And then they started to wear more gendered clothing once they were a bit older.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure the actual significance of why. I think there's a reason.
From what I thought I came to understand was it was easier to change the diaper. So it was just an easy thing when you're out and about. You can just like pull off the diaper and change it and stuff. If somebody could find out more information,
I mean, when my
great,
son was a baby, like, I had these little gown things in gender neutral colors that I would put him in the car seat when we went out and about, because if he wet himself, it was easier for me to just pull it up, change his diaper, and then pull it back down and keep going about my day.
Yeah.
It was convenient.
But that would be interesting to find out exactly why, if it wasn't for that. But yeah, I think Benjamin Franklin is famous for having a portrait of him and his family when he was young, and he's in a little dress. So even our founding people went through that, and they did not grow up to be feminine. You know, Benjamin Franklin and some of these people were very masculine. So it doesn't change the child.
This next section of the article is going to compare gender identity to something way fucking worse. So let's go. Once a nation redefines the family, its backbone begins to crumble. When you remove God from the picture, all things become permissible. Once the lines of authority are gone, who's to say what goes and what doesn't? When man makes the rules, anything goes, regardless of how disturbing or creepy it may be. When you toss God aside, anything becomes permissible. As we choose to redefine marriage according to what feels good,
Sorry, I've
where
got to
does it
go.
stop? Oh, all right, hun.
One's just gone live, and the frosts are changing locks and shit today. So see you later. Thank you. Sorry,
Bye.
love you.
Love you too. If we're our own authority, who has the right to draw any lines in the sand? If a woman wants to marry a cat, why can't she? If a man wants to marry 6 other men at the same time, why can't he? If a 50-year-old man wants to marry a 7-year-old girl, why can't he? Because that's illegal. Why is there this comparison here? It's not the same. It has nothing to do with it. What? Okay. We haven't tossed out God. We haven't tossed out, man. We have laws and rules. We have set boundaries within our society that have nothing to do with God. And a 50-year-old man cannot marry a 7-year-old child because they're a fucking child. Oh my God. Yeah. Apparently we live in the Bible, Blaine. We live inside of the Bible. That's what's happening here. I cannot with these people. Slim, I'm going to remove you until you get your stuff sorted. Don't worry, I'll add you back in if you rejoin, but you seem to have frozen on me. Oh no. But yes, they're so stuck in their little bubble. And look, if a man wants to marry 6 other men, why not? Why not? I mean, the fucking rent splitting on it would be amazing. Okay, you're back.
My internet's being a punk, so hopefully I don't drop out anymore.
Well, if you do, it's okay. Like if you freeze or something, I'll just remove you until you start moving again.
Okay, that works.
Yeah. Technically, the child has to be a certain age, and there has to be certain paperwork that's filled out, and usually that age is 14 as to when it can start, because they are of childbearing age technically. Anything below that they don't allow through religious freedom. Which is still fucking terrible.
And I think there are still weird loopholes that if the parents agree that can go through, or I don't know all the like weird things, but it gets creepy in certain states in the Americas.
Yeah, it does. Like it all depends on the state. It all depends on which legal loopholes they can find. And I know that a lot of times, like a lot of those creepy child marriage stories come out of states that have a high Mormon population.
Oh, okay.
Which is just an entire thing in and of itself. I might do a deep dive into Mormons at some point.
Yeah, and then the other unfortunate thing is usually it's somebody who gets a young girl pregnant, and they, instead of prosecuting them, the parents will say, well, you knocked her up, now you gotta marry her, instead of going, no, this dude needs to go to prison for the rest of his freaking life because he had sex with a young kid,
Yeah, like that shouldn't be a loophole. That shouldn't be a thing. So if a man wants to change his gender to be female, that's accepted, right? Yes. But What if he wants to get surgery to take on the form of a gorilla or maybe a dog? Why can't he? What if a person despises being male or female and invents a new gender? Would that be okay? What if a 6-year-old woman decides she is actually a 10-year-old little boy in her personal reality? Can she be true to herself? Would surgery be okay? Why wouldn't it be? A nation will never thrive on the foundation of dysfunction. It can't. There are no limits when man takes over the reins, except there are limits. There are a lot of limits. No, you can't, have surgery to become a dog or a gorilla. It's not a thing that exists. So how about we talk about the realm of reality, Kristen, Krusty, bitch, whatever name you choose to have.
And then one more time, this isn't something new. People have been modifying their bodies to look like other things throughout time. They think that some of the Indian gods, were kind of influenced by people who look like animals, or that's what some of their gods are. The monkey lady is a human monkey lady. So this isn't anything new, and like society is not crumbling because the lizard man got his body tattooed like a lizard. Unfortunately for us, the cat man passed away a couple years ago from
He was such a
complications.
sweetheart.
Yeah, and so people are changing their bodies into other things. But you're right, Mango. You can't turn into an actual gorilla.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to, you could make your body look
More gorilla-esque.
Yeah, but society's not falling because of that. I turned myself into a living cyborg. Did society crumble because
yes, society is crumbling all around us, and it's all your fault, Slim.
All my fault, exactly. So just because she's ignorant and doesn't realize that these things are happening and nothing bad is coming of them, because if you want to horribly mutilate your body through body modifications to look like something, as long as it's not actually killing you, poisoning you or giving you the ability to not do things like you cut off your arm or your leg or your hand. There are people who are taking off their digits, and I'm still a little iffy about that. But as long as you're still able to function in society through your body modification, it's not hurting anybody. There's if God was so mad about it, it could come down here and tell us.
Oh, wait. But like she speaks on people becoming a gorilla or a dog as though like you're suddenly just going to completely change your species. Like all of the people that have done modifications to themselves to resemble other things, they still identify like on their IDs and everything as their preferred gender identity.
And nobody's going around acting like a gorilla 100% of the time. You can't exactly do that because you are still humanoid. So even Catman, Lizard Man, Cheetah Woman, the other people that have modified themselves, Parrot Man,
Black Alien.
Yeah, exactly. Red Skull, all of them. You still, when you talk to them, you interview them, they're human. They still will talk to you and speak English and don't run around on 4 feet or legs and piss on things and aren't connected with society. They still stay in the bounds of societal norms, or at least understand you still have to be human in a society.
Yeah. And listening to interviews with all of them, they all have fantastic ideals. They are all very highly educated. They are all wonderful people. And people like Krusty and Berthy, they don't seem to get that the reason that people do these things is to be comfortable in their own skin. And it has nothing to do with how little or how much education they have. It's all about being comfortable in your own skin. And that is why there are people that get gender affirming surgeries, because they have their gender identity and they want their body to reflect the identity that they have. And some people choose to not go the surgical route, and that's okay as long as they are comfortable in themselves. But of course, they don't understand comfort, I guess. They've been uncomfortable their whole lives, I'm sure. As sad as our modern condition may be, it's not the saddest thing to be concerned about. The saddest thing is that our generation, isn't that we've redefined gender, it's that we've redefined God. The king of the universe and the creator of the world has been tossed aside in pursuit of progress. God is no longer our king. God is no longer our authority. Gender and marriage are no longer about what God created them to be, Genesis 2. They're about who we think we should be. Instead of turning to our creator for truth, we have turned to ourselves, Romans 1. We have become our own gods, like a pagan nation bowing down to stone gods. We are bowing down to the god of autonomy.
Marriage was made for rich people to keep their land and wealth. It was not made for couples to have a family and to get together and have kids without being horrible to them. And, I mean, arranged marriages, that's not a good thing. So that basis doesn't even hold water.
I'm so confused right now about her wording on some of this. How are we bowing down to the god of autonomy when by existing as a person you automatically have fucking autonomy? Yes, Blaine, they are saying that autonomy is bad. They do not want you to be yourself. They do not want you to have control over your own body. They do not want you to do anything. If you're a woman, you must sit at home and wait for your husband and pray to God to bring you one. Yes, they do just openly admit it. Yeah. I mean, they openly admit that they think that anyone that gets an abortion is a baby killer. They openly admit that all of us that wear immodest clothing are hussies. They're very opinionated ladies. It's just that all of their opinions are based in ignorance. Yeah. And when God is no longer worshipped as the rightful king, I'm sorry, my bad, I misread that. And when God is no longer worshipped as the rightful king, disaster and judgment will follow. You are on top of the editing today, Krusty. I mean, oof. The sorrows of those who run after another god shall multiply, and I will declare my judgments against them for all their evil in forsaking me. They have made offerings to other gods and worshipped the works of their own hands. This isn't a gloom and doom post, but a wake-up call to show you the severity of our generation's decisions. If we truly love God and others, we will not keep silent. How can we? We see the iceberg ahead. We need to start ringing the emergency bells. We need to get back to God's word and remind our fellow Americans there should not be an apostrophe before the S. It is plural. Plural. Plurals do not have the apostrophe, you dumb fucking bitch. Of this truth. The more we rebel from our Creator, the further and further we will get from fulfillment. True fulfillment in this life cannot be found outside of God. This GENDEration cannot offer lasting fulfillment and happiness. The most loving thing we can do in this day and age is to point people back to God's truth, back to God's good plan for marriage, back to God's good design for the male and female, back to God's redeeming plan for salvation, back to the sin-conquering power of the cross. Bitch, get off your own cross. We need the fucking wood. Yes. The Bible does indeed say that women should not be opinionated. If women want to have an opinion, then they need to have a husband, and their husband has to give them permission to have an opinion. For Krusty, when they started Girl Defined, she had a husband, and her husband gave her permission to be opinionated. So here we are, unfortunately. Who trusted these women with an internet connection? I don't know, but they shouldn't. Bill, you can have all the autonomies you want. Have every of the autonomy. I support it.
Because this is a blog, we can't see how many people have read it, or there's no likes, or there's nothing to tell us.
Oh, and see, the fun thing is the transgender homophobia and bigotry posts that we're going over, they're not available anymore. These are archived because people kept sending them to sponsorship people and being like, oh, hey, you shouldn't give them money.
Good.
Hi, Bifus. Sorry, there's a dog that wants my attention.
Puppy.
He's a sweet boy. Yes, the biggest threat to religion is educated women.
Yes, definitely.
At least the biggest threat to bubbles of religion like this one is educated women. There are religions where women's opinions are appreciated and accepted, and people's identities are appreciated and accepted. You know. Yes, her opinion is very much wrong. Yeah, exactly, Ape. You get it. Okay, so how about we learn about the gay pride movement and their sneaky agenda? Because apparently there's a sneaky agenda.
Yes, please. Especially, I love saying this. Nobody can trick you to wanting it in the butt. That's not how this world works, honey. Even if somebody tricks you into it once, if you don't like it, you aren't going to keep going back, honey. I know it from first penis experience. I mean, but never mind.
We'll talk about it later. I'll put it on the whiteboard. It's all good.
We'll put it on the whiteboard. So that's the other thing that these people don't get is if you don't like sucking dick, you're not going to do it. Yeah. You can't be tricked into being something you're not. If you don't like licking vagina, you're not going to be lesbian, honey. Like that, you can't be tricked into it.
Oh no, but see, you totally can be tricked into it because we're sneaky. We're hiding in the bars, just waiting for you to get just a little too drunk. Please do not take me seriously, you guys. I do not do that type of thing. People in the Alphabet Mafia do not do that type of thing. We are all very normal people, I promise.
I work at gay clubs constantly. That's where a quarter of probably my gigs are at. I will be at one on the 25th of this month. So when I go there, I don't end up having sex with a bunch of men. I mean, if I wanted to, I could, but that doesn't happen because I go there, or they don't trick me into it. The only thing that happens, which happens at straight clubs, is sometimes people get roofied, but that isn't a sneaky agenda that they're trying to play out. You go to any kind of nightclub and there's a possibility of that happening. No more, no less. A risk. Yeah, so just watch your drink, make sure that you always have it covered or you always have it in your hand. Just do what you do at any other freaking bar or club. There's nothing, but let's see what they say so we can have a good laugh.
Yes, the dickfluenza is a lie. I'm sorry.
Oh, that is good. Oh, that is good.
Oh, putting that on the list of words to use forever. Thank you, Ty. All right. The movement is on the rise. If you've read or watched any news stories in the past few years, you've seen it. If you've viewed any modern TV shows or movies, you've been entertained by it. If you've walked into a modern makeup store in the past 12 months, you've felt it. It's everywhere. In my short lifetime, I've never experienced the push for an agenda as strong as I have this one. I've never seen Christians lose their backbone so quickly when the pressure's on. You know what I'm talking about. No, I fucking don't. Please tell me. The gay pride movement is gaining some serious momentum right here in America and all around the world. Our culture is working its hardest to redefine family, marriage, and gender. The word gay itself is a perfect example of our culture trying to redefine things. Prior to the 1960s, the word gay was rarely used to define a homosexual person. For hundreds of years, the word gay was used to describe someone as being joyful, carefree, and lighthearted. By adopting the friendly term gay, we naturally downplay and minimize the depravity of that lifestyle. It makes light of something that should never be taken lightly. What? I'm sorry.
If you didn't know the origin of the word gay, you would not know that it came from a jovial definition. So, it's turned into a negative stigma, saying that word, which is obviously changing, and now it's not. But they didn't use that word because they were trying to trick people into thinking it was a good thing. Yeah.
No. See, it's part of the sneaky agenda, Slim. Let's see what else is on our sneaky agenda. Did you know that less than 3.5% of the entire American population claims to be homosexual? So how in the world did such a tiny group of people create this massive snowball effect? Great question. I can tell you this, it didn't happen by accident. They've had a sneaky agenda since the beginning. Through a carefully crafted, decades-old propaganda campaign, homosexual activists have successfully cast homosexuals as a disadvantaged minority. And the source on that is renewamerica.com, which is a Christian-based right-leaning website that is full of all sorts of misinformation, just so everyone is aware. As a result of their strategic marketing and political influence, they have convinced most Americans that they are actually a distinct people race. In the past, our battle was for the equality of African American people, but now the battle is for equality for the homosexual. There are so many things wrong in that one section that okay, Krusty. Systemic racism is still very much a thing. There is still very much a lot of disadvantages for people of color, indigenous women, indigenous men. It does not matter. You think that everything has been figured out and resolved because it has not. No one's figured it out. In fact, chances are if you are a person of color and you get pulled over, you're likely going to get arrested or have your car searched or something because you are suspected of doing something bad because of the color of your skin. There is not equality yet. There has not been equality for a long fucking time, and we have a long way to go before there is actual equality.
Yeah. And because somebody's asking for equal rights is not a scheme for anything. People who have certain lifestyles want to be as equal as people with other lifestyles. So asking to be equal is human, or everybody wants the right to do what they want. And once again, in like Brazil and other countries, there is this stuff already happening. There are crap tons of transgender. There's the carnival where they, to some extent, celebrate femininity, and in different ways. And they're doing okay. God hasn't like blown up a volcano over there because of all of the gayness. So there's no agenda. It's just people want to be able to walk out in the street and say, I'm gay and I don't have to hide from anybody because I am.
I mean, my agenda for today is do this stream, have some lunch, take a nap, get my kid from the bus, make sure that he is fed, maybe be on Cookie's stream. I don't think world domination is until like closer to my birthday, but they don't understand that like we have other things going on in our lives, and taking over their media and taking over their lives is just, it's not important because no one likes them anyway. We want all the nice people and good people in our agenda. So good morning, Glober Mom. Love having you here.
Oh, hi, Mama. Yeah, it's not like she's acting like they're trying to take over the world or get into power so that they can control the straights, like, no, honey, there's nothing, no power exchange is happening other than we're able to go out in public and say, I'm gay, lesbian, or whatever, without feeling like I'm going to get hung from a tree,
Yeah. My birthday is at the very end of May. I'm turning 30 this year. Ugh. Anyway. The new civil rights movement. They want us to accept the notion that homosexual behavior is really something that is natural for a legitimate minority, that it's the same as being African American or it's the same as being Hispanic. It is ridiculous to assume that because they do a specific sexual act or acts, they therefore demand certain rights and should be granted those rights. And that quote comes from John MacArthur, who is 82 years old. He started a mega church out in California in the 60s. He has a television program and a radio program called, what is it again? Yes, Grace to You. The church that he runs is the Grace Community Church, which is known for being homophobic sacks of shit. Grace Community Church is kind of like Westboro, Good morning, Lizard. Nice to see you here. But yeah, they just don't use quotes from people that are garbage unless you want to admit that you are garbage, which all of your shit just shows us that you are trash and you should be taken out in Minecraft.
Yes, exactly.
They claim this is the new civil rights movement. In fact, there's a popular website called the New Civil Rights Movement, which is dedicated to fighting for homosexual rights. Anyone who speaks against a homosexual might be in danger of speaking hate crimes against a minority race. No one is claiming that it is a race. No one has said anything about it being a race. It is very much a identity, but it's okay for someone to want to be able to marry a man if they're a man, or marry a woman if they're a woman. It's okay.
And remember, just because you say you don't like something doesn't make it a hate crime. It's when you actually start being cussing or pushing people around or causing them to not be equal that there is a problem. You can totally be against it, if you want. You can totally say, I don't agree with it. That's not a hate crime. But
but they said it's a hate crime, so it must be a hate crime, right?
It has to be now, yeah. So that's the other thing, honey. I mean, people can be against it. That's what's so funny about the right-wingers here. They're like, cancel culture. No, you can be against something. It's just when you use derogatory slurs or words that put people down and make them less than you, that there is a problem. Anybody
Or
can dislike stuff.
if you're like G-Man and you say that, if you found out someone was trans, you would beat them to death with a baseball bat.
Jeez, yeah. It's, you know why? It's because he's attracted to them.
Oh, absolutely.
He gets a little chubby when he sees a trans person, and so he's like, nope, can't have that because the Geed said I can't be attracted to that. So
oh no, you can't be like that ever. Like, what?
yeah.
Why would you even think such a thing?
Because God's always watching, and he only wants to watch straight heterosex, apparently.
Yes, the straight heterosex that everyone is having. Yep.
Exactly. In missionary position with the hole in the sheet. Oh, that's Mormonism, right? The hole in the sheet.
Yeah. That's also what is it? Orthodox Jews do the hole in the sheet thing. They also do this thing where after you take the woman's virginity and there's blood on the sheet, you're supposed to show it to everyone.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about the showing of the blood. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh jeez. Oh man.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. Religion is fucking wild.
Well, yeah. Priests cut off the end of little boys' genitalia. I mean, how creepy is that?
Well, the whole reason that became so popular in the U.S. is because of Kellogg, the guy that makes the cereal. Like,
yeah, he made the cereal so he could hopefully stop masturbation.
Yes, and you have to do the whole circumcision thing because then it means that there will be less feeling. You won't want to touch yourself. You won't want to have other people touch you. It's all about purity. It's fucking weird. I don't know why a man that works with cereal was given that much authority over telling people about sex.
Yeah. And then I believe in a certain religion, and I'm not going to say because I don't 100% remember off the top of my head, so I'm not going to say, but there in a certain religion, after the circumcision happens, the rabbi will lick the blood off the child. So they just, I believe, made that illegal in America, so they can't do that anymore. But that was another practice, is the rabbi would, if I'm getting this wrong, please somebody in the side chat let me know, but they would actually lick the blood off of the child.
Yes, Lizard, we know. G-Man specifically wants to watch you shower. You might want to work that whole thing out with him at some point, maybe. Might be able to get some cash out of it. Just saying. The truth is that, according to Krusty, homosexuals are not a special race at all. Even though, no one in the Alphabet Mafia has claimed to be a race other than your actual race. But, yeah, I know, dining room table education, it's okay, honey. If I hosted a summer camp and said only gay people are allowed to come, how or what would determine who qualified to come? How does someone prove that they are a gay? It's not something that can be tested genetically. It's not something a person is born with. No evidence has ever proved that. It's not even a physical attribute. So how do you determine who qualifies to come to the summer camp? The only way to define a person as a homosexual is if they choose to be categorized as one. How do they choose? By their actions. The only thing that makes a person gay or not has nothing to do with their race, but everything to do with their lifestyle choices.
Okay, so if you have a Christian camp, and you only want to allow Christians, how do you prove they are a Christian or not?
You can't.
Exactly, and that's the same point she's making. Like, It works against you, honey. It's the same thing. You can't use it as an example if I can use it as an example against you.
Oh man. I mean, I do enjoy being a gay, as she put it, but I would not self-identify as a gay. I am unsure who would identify as a gay, but it's okay, Krusty. We know you're uneducated.
Why would somebody who's not into whatever camp was going on, let's say it's anything, let's say it's unicorn fart camp, I don't know.
I want to go there.
If you weren't into unicorn farts, you wouldn't go there. So why is she worried about non-gays going to a gay camp? What does that matter?
It doesn't. Like, there are camps for LGBTQIA plus youth and allies because they're not discriminatory. Oh, hey, you want to come to camp and you want to do all of these camp activities with other people in a safe place where you can be your identity? Great. Come on. Have fun. Just don't be a dick. Like, it's what? No one's making a fucking summer camp specifically for the gays. Stop it. Oh my god. Lizard, couldn't we all use $1,300? Like, come on now. Yeah, their brains would explode if you explain a lot of things to them. I mean, if at some point they decide to watch videos about how dangerous purity culture is, they would melt. They would be a puddle. And that would be best for everyone in Minecraft.
Well, you know how funny it is when I tell like really religious people that I'm a cyborg and I have implants. It freaks them out. Their brain can't handle understanding that people can be different or these things are really happening,
Well,
and
yeah.
that I'm not trying to eat their soul after I became something different,
Oh shit, we're not doing the soul eating thing?
That is later. We'll talk about that. Yes,
okay,
we are, but
backstage,
it's we have to. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was growing up, I would have loved to have a camp like that. But now that there are, I am so happy that everyone gets to embrace who they are and embrace other people for who they are and just have that personal connection. It's great. I'm happy and I'm also jealous. Like, my inner child is just like, fuck yeah. So what they choose to do sexually with their bodies is the defining factor here. Nothing else. The gay pride movement has also done a great job of playing the victim. If they can get the American people to believe they are a special people, group, or race, then they can play the victim whenever they're not accepted. They're released from being held responsible for their own actions and choices, which is not fucking true. Oh my god. Like, it's being gay is not illegal. Liking people of the same gender, not illegal. Liking people of the same gender identity, not illegal. Robbing a bank is illegal, and you will get arrested for it whether or not you're gay, and they can't be like, oh, I'm gay, so you can't arrest me for this crime. It's not how it works. Jesus Christ on a fucking cracker. I don't know where their logic about this comes from. I'm confused and concerned that they think that people are getting away with crimes just because of their sexual identity.
That makes no sense to me at all. But okay. It sounds like projection to me from, her. She's projecting and saying that's what she wants to do, or that's what Christians do whenever they're persecuted or somebody talks crap to them. Oh, we're going to be the victim, blah, blah, blah.
Well, I mean, their articles have them listed out as being perpetual victims. Their entire worldview is just, it's crumbling because so many people don't agree with them. And so many people want to have their own rights and do their own thing and have their own autonomy. Oh my God, the insanity. Jesus. True love helps people. I mean, it does. True love absolutely does help people. Love in general helps people, but it helps if you love people for who they are. Some of you might be thinking, man, you're being really unloving right now. Yes, I'm glad you brought that up because that's another sign of the homosexual agenda. Our culture wants you to be mad at me for not being loving and accepting of everyone. The truth is, I do not hate a single homosexual person out there. They are sinful humans just like myself who have been made in the image of God. At my core, I am no better than they are. The issue I have with homosexuals is not the actual person, but their habitually sinful lifestyle that is in direct rebellion against God. Nowhere does the Bible say that we should love and accept everyone's choices and actions. We are called to love others, yes, but we are not called to support and accept their sin.
Yes, it does. It says, love thy neighbor. And then it also says, don't judge unless thee wants to be judged. So, honey, they actually do talk about it, and you're supposed to let people live their lives. And I know in the Bible it does talk about pushing your religion onto other people, because the more people you save, the easier it is to get in heaven or whatever that bull crap it says in. But that doesn't mean you have to hate or be against a certain person's way of life. Once again, Jesus hung out with the lepers and the prostitutes and said, turn thy cheek, blah, blah, blah. So you are wrong, honey. The New Testament says to be loving.
Oh, see, again, though, they're going to cherry pick out all of the verses that they want to support them, and they're going to just pretend that the other ones don't exist. I mean, they clearly act like the entire Old Testament, like giant chunks of it, do not exist, with all the murder and abortion and baby killing, like actual literal baby killing. But, they want us to love everyone, but not their actions. Okay, so, Krusty, how about this? I love you because Jesus said I should, but I absolutely fucking despise how ignorant and hateful you are. Does that work? Because, I mean, it's pretty fucking sinful to spew this rhetoric and sell it to teenage girls and young college-age women for money. You're a good Christian. Aren't you supposed to be preaching this for free? Aren't you supposed to be spreading the love and word of God yourself for the love and word of God? Weird how that works. Okay. Slim, you're going to love the title of this one, because it's How to Show Love Towards Prostitutes, Homosexuals, and Muslims.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Like, what do these three things have in common? I really want to know.
Yeah, exactly.
These all sound like very different groups of people with very different lifestyles.
Yeah, and just love them. Why is this so hard to understand that if you're not a prostitute, you can still love them? I mean, that's their life choice they picked, and you're not going to convince somebody who is a sex worker to not be one. Let me tell you, honey, because there's nothing you could tell me to get me to not do the things that I do with the fetishes and working in dungeons and working for gay clubs and all that fun stuff. So just turn the cheek and be, show them.
Yes, they do take a lot of verses out of context. Oh, Ty, don't we all want to drink right now listening to this? I'm afraid that if I were to drink while going over Girl Defined, I may say some things that will get my channel removed, so I don't do that. Also, it's the daytime, and I'm a responsible parent, so unlike Bethany, who lets her kid cry and films it on Instagram. Yeah. What bitches. Okay. If there was one conversation I'd never prepared for, it was this one. Randomly talking with a young woman at Starbucks and then finding out she was a prostitute. Caught off guard and totally unprepared would be an understatement for how I was feeling when she told me what she did for a living. I'll never forget that day or young woman. My feelings of pity and sorrow went through the roof when she told me why she had recently moved to San Antonio. I wanted to reach my arms out, give her a big hug, and help her get a new start. The conversation ended before it began. Her boss called her on the phone and was there to pick her up. Before she left, I pulled out a gospel tract and handed it to her. I explained how the message inside the booklet had changed my life, and I told her of the hope and peace I now have because of it. She looked me in the eyes and said, "Hope, that's exactly what I need right now. Thank you so much for giving this to me." You're muted.
Yeah, I'm talking with my father.
Oh, okay. Oh. Yes, it is a weirdly odd and specific list. Also, perhaps if this conversation actually did take place, because yes, today and shit that never happened, the sex worker in question may have been like, "Oh, I need hope because I'm in a new city and I'm working with new people, and so I hope that everything goes the way that I would like for it to." That's a good reason to hope. But it has nothing to do with God. Yes, responsible parents do exist.
Yes.
Somehow.
And the other thing is I don't know what the conversation was like. I don't know what I don't know what the conversation was like. I don't know what they talked about. She may talk about it in a little bit, but she's just, to the best of my knowledge, assuming this person is not having a fun life. I know lots of sex workers that love what they do. They're in that field because they like interacting with people in that way. So they're very happy in their job and they're independent. They can make a crap ton of money. I mean, literally, I know people who make hundreds of dollars just by putting on high heels and stepping on dudes' junk. I mean,
I want to make that type of cash. Like, what?
Exactly. So again, she's assuming this person is not having a good life or quality life because they are a sex worker.
It's such a terrible thing to assume of people. Like, just because their lifestyle doesn't match yours does not mean that they're having some sort of awful time. In fact, they're probably making bank, living in a nice house, doing the thing that they want to do with the people they want to do it with, and buying all the shit that they want. Like, what?
Yeah, there are street workers, but there's escort, there's dungeons, there are so many avenues that you can be a sex worker that I don't know if she understands what this person really does. I mean, she may say she is a, let's just say, prostitute, even though I hate that word, but she may be a $1,200 escort. She may be getting a crap ton of money every time. and not having to do things too. That she's probably a kid.
amazing.
Yeah, I used to do escorty kind of thingies where older ladies would pay for my dinner and to hang out, and I just would go hang out with them, and sex didn't have to happen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it would absolutely be hilarious if God showed up. Bifus, what are you doing? Sorry, guys. The Bifus coughed. The doggy. But, yeah. God would flip his shit. God would not be happy with anything happening in these religious circles like this. Yes, the women do make bank. Absolutely. Give me just 1 second and let me let him out real quick.
So let's see. I was hoping that I could see what else, if she talked about what she talked about with this lady. I hope I don't have my microphone backwards because it looks like I might. Hold on 1 second.
Well, that's good because I'm right back.
Okay, so now my microphone is facing the right way, so I don't know if that changed my audio at all, but yeah. Okay, let's see what else she has to sputter out that doesn't make any sense, because she has no idea how to put herself in somebody else's shoes or to understand somebody else's lifestyle.
Well, because that lifestyle isn't matching hers as, a white Christian in Texas whose family has money.
And that's a whole nother thing as well, is being privileged with money makes it so that you don't look outside your own box. You're like, oh, those people, their lifestyle, because they're not rich, they don't have money, so they're lower than us. No, some people just don't want to be billionaires, or some people weren't born into money, or like me, like if I wanted to, I could work every single weekend doing a show and I could be making thousands and thousands of dollars. I make what I feel comfortable making, and I work as much as my body lets me, and I feel comfortable. So just because I'm a traveling kid and don't technically have permanent places, is because I tour and stuff, doesn't make me less than anybody. It's just my lifestyle is different than yours, and I chose this lifestyle. Unlike, well, I guess she chose that lifestyle. Just it doesn't seem very fun for her.
She chooses to grift, and she chooses to live off of her mom's money, or I'm sorry, her dad's money, because her mom doesn't work. Good Christian woman. She's just a mom. Which, by the way, that is not disparaging any stay-at-home parents. I absolutely love and adore stay-at-home moms. They are amazing and wonderful and do all of the things. It's just that her mom in particular is a cunt. We do not support cunts. Okay. Ditching the pride and self-righteous attitude. I'll be totally honest with you. In the past, and still at times, I've struggled to view lost people with compassion and love. When I hear the words homosexual, prostitute, or even the word Muslim, I cringe inside. In my sinful pride, I wonder how those people could choose that lifestyle or religion. I think to myself, don't they know how wrong that is? Don't they understand how unfulfilling that is? Instead of having feelings of love, compassion, and a desire to reach out, I've had a prideful heart that looked down upon the lost. What I seem to forget is this: if it weren't for the grace of God, I would be no better off than those lost people. Without Jesus opening my eyes and saving me from my lost and depraved heart, I would be no better off than the unsaved around me. I would be no better off than the prostitute I met at Starbucks, or any other lost person trying to find fulfillment in all the wrong places. Muslims aren't lost. Have you had a conversation with a Muslim woman? Like Muslim women are pretty much in charge of their entire fucking marriage. Like in at least here in the US with all of the Muslim women that I have met, like they have so many rights. They have so many things that they are allowed to do. If they get a job outside of their home, all of that money that they make according to their religion is theirs. Their husband has no claim to it. Like, women don't have to wear a hijab. They don't have to wear any sort of covering if they don't want to. It is completely up to them. It's not as much of an oppressed religion as people love to claim it as. Like, yes, as with any religion, you will have radicals. You will have people that don't view it in the proper way and take it to extremes. But overall, it's not like that. And women like this need to quit perpetuating that being a different religion, being Muslim, actually, is such a wrong and terrible thing. Because it's not.
Yeah, you already said this, Mango, but I'm going to reiterate it. They assume that it's the extreme version, like the jihad version. Isn't that the? Is that their? You know what I'm getting at. There's the extremist version of the religion, and then there is what people, how people live their life with it. It's not as extreme over there as it used to be. Women can show their face, I believe, in most places. There are still weird things about how you can't, you have to have a man with you, and there are kind of weird things. But look at what these two women are talking about, or Krusty at this point in time. She's saying you have to do everything your husband says. You have to wear these certain things. Wait, you're doing exactly what you're claiming the Muslim women are doing and saying it's bad, but you're choosing the same direction, which is to sit at home, wait for your husband to tell you what to do, wear what he tells you, wear the hair, wait, that's the same thing as
like, I kind of get the whole, like, women not going to certain public places without, like, their brother or father or husband present, because, like, it's a safety issue. Like,
it's an escort, basically. Like, hey, I want my brother to be walking down an alley with me, so if somebody tries to do something wrong, my brother will kick their butt.
like,
it's safety.
It totally makes sense. And
don't we do that? We do that in our culture. I don't let my homegirls fucking walk down the street without freaking me there, or like it's 3:00 in the morning and they're leaving the club and they're like, oh, I'm gonna go to the car now or go home, and I'm like, by yourself? No, you're not, honey. Let's go walk, and I'll grab a couple friends and we'll go walk her to the car. Watch her get in, drive away. There was nothing wrong with that. We were just showing support and making sure that there was safety happening. We didn't make them do anything other than saying, I want to make sure you get home okay, or at least to the car okay.
Yeah, and Glover Mom, over in places like Pakistan, there are way more extremist when it comes to things like religion, especially for Muslims. So, her having all of the freedom over here, it stands to reason, because we have, a westernized Muslim area, basically. Like, you aren't going to find the extremists over here in the same way that you would find them in places like Pakistan.
And then I love how she's saying this, but she's not saying how because Jewish men have to wear the little hat on their head, that they're being forced into anything, or they're getting it's the wearing the head covering, not the other things that you have to do in other religions, which is wear certain hats and not wear certain things, and then don't eat fish on Fridays or whatever. Like, there's so many other religions that have just the same presence, just you are a racist piece of shit, because that's really what it is she's like, oh, the brown religion, that religion, we can't be their friends, even though I want to do a comparison very soon about this, because I saw somebody kind of go on this. Both of the books are almost exactly the same.
Yeah. They regurgitate their information. Like when I was going over, the articles about abortion, when I was going over everything last week, it was like they said the same sentence with different words repeatedly. And people buy this stuff. People gladly pay money for these things. Why? Don't do that. Buy yourself some weed. Watch a funny movie. That'll give you fulfillment in life. I'm pretty sure. I enjoy doing that shit.
And then one of the other things that I've come across is like, there's 12 original myths or fables or something like that, which is in every religion. The rebirth of somebody to make a god, or somebody becoming a god, some way, shape, or form. A worldwide flood, that's in pretty much every religion. A massive fire or a volcano erupting and taking out a community. There's all these little things that happen almost in every religious book or fable book or throughout history. The Romans, the Greeks, everybody has the same kind of like stories that have been told throughout history. The Native Americans also have somewhat of the same thing, where you have the same kind of mythological creatures, a Sasquatch, a Bigfoot, mermaid, all these different things. In every culture you can find those things talked about. So your religion's nothing special, honey. Just you are the one who's latching onto this version and wanting to exclude everybody because you don't understand how we're technically all the same, or it's all the same.
Yeah. But, that's what happens when you attend the school of the dining room table. You become very closed-minded. You don't know how to think for yourself or do research. You just regurgitate what mommy told you, which is to be a hateful piece of shit, which, I mean, makes sense with the literal Nazis that are in their family that they hold in high regard, but that's another stream that we're going to do. Instead of having attitudes of self-righteousness or pride, we as Christians need to have attitudes of love and compassion towards the lost around us. We need to recognize that any and all lifestyles outside of biblical Christianity will only lead to emptiness. No matter how happy, fulfilled, or satisfied lost people seem, you can know for sure that a lifestyle apart from or contrary to God's word will never lead to satisfaction. It's just... I live a life outside of God, and I'm pretty fucking happy with myself. I mean, I don't know.
I'm stoked on my life. I don't feel like anything's missing. I've pretty much got to do whatever I've wanted to do. I'm working on still traveling and performing, trying to better my performances. And soon I will be working on amping up the acts that I do. Right now, I'm pretty much plateaued at what I can do with my body. But soon I will try pushing myself further with my show and see if I can try to get a couple more world records, or at least perform things that people haven't seen. But, I don't know what she's talking about. I know she has to have this narrative so that she can feel comfortable with her existence. But I know lots of people who aren't religious that are stoked as crap to be doing whatever they want. And even the people who are tiny bit religious, which she always seems to neglect, is the semi-religious people. Some people can believe in Christianity but not be as psycho about it.
Okay, we're going to do one more article before we go, and it is why it's good to be closed-minded sometimes. Because yeah, okay. We live in a culture that is all about open-mindedness. Whatever sounds good goes. Whatever Hollywood throws out there is quickly accepted. Whatever Nashville produces is quickly embraced. Why do they always bring up Nashville? They're obsessed with Nashville, and I don't know why. The definition for being open-minded literally means willing to consider new ideas. That sounds pretty good, right? Who doesn't want to consider new ideas? I mean, think of all the progress our country has made in 200 years, due, in large part, to considering and adopting new ideas. A lot of good can come from being open-minded. I'm all for considering new ideas. So here's my question for you. Is it ever okay to be closed-minded about something? Yes, there are certain things that it is very okay to be closed-minded about. It is okay to be closed-minded towards people that are okay with things like SA, child SA, anything of that nature. You can be very much closed-minded towards those people. You can be closed-minded towards maps. You can be closed-minded towards Nazis. You can be closed-minded towards anyone that wants to bring undue and unjust harm to another person. That is acceptable. Oh, hey BGL, I'm so glad you made it.
Oh, hello. She's getting it wrong. It's not being closed-minded. It's not tolerating like Nazis, and I'm not closed-minded to them. I don't tolerate that type of person or somebody who is into that. I think that's a little different. I don't know if closed-minded is really the right, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely things where we can't accept in society or can't be open-minded to.
Yeah, I will never ever be open-minded towards maps. People like maps, people that support maps. That's not in that's just a big fucking no. Like, fuck off with that shit. And everyone, I will say this on air, and I don't care if it gets my channel a strike of some sort, but it is perfectly acceptable to punch a Nazi or a pedophile.
Yes, definitely. If you have real proof that they are either of those, then yes, definitely.
Yep.
Don't go off an assumption though and punch somebody in the face, because that could detrimentally hurt their life if you're accusing somebody of something that you don't have proof of. But yes, if you know that somebody is that, then definitely have fun hurting your knuckles or your hand.
Yeah, do your due diligence first, always.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is perfectly acceptable and okay. I am not telling you to go out and actually do it. I am just telling you that it is an acceptable practice. Hello, Ami. It's nice to see you. Is it ever a good idea to be unwilling to consider new ideas? Here at girldefined.com, we've been sharply rebuked and fiercely criticized by some of our commenters for being closed-minded about certain issues. We've been told that being closed-minded is wrong and harmful to our readers. We've had commenters lambaste us for taking a stand in favor of saving sex for marriage. We've received emails accusing us of being closed-minded and hateful for taking the stand for heterosexual biblical marriage. We've been accused of being out of date and shaming women for promoting the idea of modest fashion. Being closed-minded about anything has now become a cultural no-no. So what do you think? As Christian women, is it wrong for us to be closed-minded about these issues? Is it wrong for us to have firm beliefs based on God's word about these weighty topics? Absolutely not. Except, yeah. That's okay. You can be open-minded about other people living their life how they so choose, while also having your own morals and beliefs and following your morals and beliefs. They can coexist together. You very much can dress modestly without, telling other women that they're wrong and slutty for not dressing modestly and telling them that nakedness is wrong. I could be, naked from the waist down right now. No one would ever know because I'm on fucking camera at a certain angle. Does that make me a slut or a whore? No. That makes me a human that just doesn't like wearing pants. It's it's an easy concept that apparently they just don't get. I don't know. Yes. Religious people do have the highest birth rates. Also, I absolutely love your username. Thank you for being here. Women's rights was a mistake. Yes, it does. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You choose for yourself to dress modestly, and you know and understand that other people don't subscribe to the same dress as you do. And that is one of the reasons why I absolutely adore you, because you know the difference. Like, you're a people, and these women aren't people. Yes, exactly. Everyone is going to be criticized by someone. As to whether or not that criticism is publicly posted in a blog telling them how wrong they are for their lifestyle choices is a completely different story. Which claim? The one from Ami or the one from Women's Rights were a mistake? Or something that they said in this article thingy that is just terrible? I don't know if they're actually people, though. I haven't seen them function in normal society, just in their bubble. So I hate to say it, but they could be lizard people. What if they are? Ooh, conspiracies. We live in a culture that is embracing ideas of paganism and secularism faster than we can blink. We live in a society that does not view God as the source for all truth or his word as the standard for how to live. Therefore, we cannot embrace every popular idea and opinion out there. We cannot be willing to consider new ideas about everything. Just because Hollywood glamorizes sin doesn't make it right. Just because our government has legalized homosexual marriage doesn't mean we should jump on board. Just because the radical feminist movement has redefined the definition of womanhood doesn't mean we should embrace it. What? I just. Okay. Yeah, I know. The paganism and the secularism is making society crumble. We should all watch out. It's the paganism and the secularism that's making all of us sin and glamorize sin and marry people of the same gender identity.
And nobody is asking you to embrace the culture. We just want you to accept it or shut up and let us live our life. You don't have to go out to gay pride parades with us and wave a gay flag. Nobody's asking that of you. You just have to be okay that it's around. And there are other cultures who are accepting it and have for a long time before we're even to where we are, and they're still okay, you know. Yeah. They're not being punished by God, or their country isn't being swallowed into the ocean. Well, I mean, we are, but that's the world because of global warming. But that's a whole different story. It's not just specifically one place.
That's science. It has nothing to do with God. That's yeah. But of course, they're going to say that everything that's happening that is because of global warming is because of God, because they have to perpetuate this idea that we're all sinners and God's punishing us for being sinners, and it's a whole thing. And yes, Bill Portley, both of those women are very much wet blankets. They do not know how to have fun. I don't even know if they know the definition of fun. I doubt they know the fun song from SpongeBob. Yes, Christian men absolutely would kill for some paganism. I mean, who doesn't like to be pegged? Come on. Well, except for like the very rare, completely straight men. But I mean, come on, don't knock it till you try it. Just because our culture is normalizing what's wrong doesn't make it right. As Christian women, our allegiance must be to God's word first. We must measure everything we hear, see, and are taught against his timeless truth. When new ideas and worldviews are put before us, we must look at God's word first, then discern whether God would be open to it or not. Whether the culture likes it or not, there comes a time when we must be closed-minded. And you know what? This is a very good thing. No, it's not. N is for anywhere and anytime at all down here in the deep blue sea. Mm-hmm. You get it. Everyone needs. But it...
She acts like you can't just go into the Bible and translate whatever you want through the different passages. I mean, you literally could make all of this okay. Just you see you next Tuesdays are trying to pick and choose what you want to see out of the Bible. Like, literally, you can make the Bible say pretty much anything that you want.
Yeah, it's very common practice for people to make the Bible say whatever they want, which is why you've got, televangelists that make all the money that they do and tax evade under the guise of religion, when really they're just being hateful and harmful for no reason.
The reason why there's 100, if not more, different sects of Christianity is because people have translated it into so many different versions that you have the Pentecostals, you have the Lutherans, you have all these different versions of it, because you can pretty much take whatever you want out of it and manicure it to your lifestyle to push your narrative, pretty much.
If we don't, we will soak up every wind of doctrine and embrace ideas that are completely contrary to God's word. Ephesians 4:14 warns us against this exact thing, so that we may no longer be children, tossed to and fro by the waves and carried about by every wind of doctrine, by human cunning, by craftiness and deceitful schemes. This verse is challenging us to not be weak, mindless women accepting every idea presented by pop culture. Instead, we must be strong, bold, and courageous women as we stand for and proclaim God's beautiful truth. Look here, bitch. I think I'm a pretty fucking strong woman. I am very strong-willed. I know who I am and what I am about. And it's very clear to me that you seem to have this idea of what you should be about and what I should be about. And it's just, it's backwards. Your entire thing is fucking backwards. It's not a wind of doctrine that's taking over society. It's people embracing the differences of everyone. It's people embracing the lifestyle choices that people choose to make, which are outside of sexuality, by the way. Sexuality is not a lifestyle choice. It is what you do with your sexuality that may be, you know, like Slim and his lifestyle. That is his. And that has everything to do with who he is, not his sexual identity.
Exactly.
It's incredibly simple concepts. They are easy to explain, as I just did. They just cannot grasp it. And they probably never will grasp it because they're in their 30s and they write shit like this.
Well, how else would they make their money? You know,
yeah, that's right. You know,
so they have to keep with this.
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I don't make money off of this. I have donation stuff, but like I tell everyone to please give it to the Satanic Temple Reproductive Rights Legal Aid Fund instead. It's in the description because I want that money to go towards a good cause. I want people to donate to something that I believe in, that is for human rights. And these women choose to sell these harmful and hateful ideas for themselves. And it's disgusting. The second half of that verse tells us how to do just that. Rather, speaking the truth in love, we are to grow up in every way into him who is the head, into Christ. Ephesians 4:15. As we're closed-minded about false doctrine and ideas, we must, at the same time, speak the truth in love. God has saved us from our sins, and we are no better than anybody else. We simply know God's freeing truth and should strive to share it in a loving manner with the unsaved world around us. I want to close by encouraging you as a Christian girl in the 21st century to stand strong on God's word. Don't allow the ideas of our culture to trump God's timeless truth. Don't be afraid of being closed-minded about false teaching and unbiblical ideas. Don't soak up and embrace every wind of doctrine. May we be a generation of Christian girls known for their strong backbone and tender heart. Again, I like to think my spine is pretty fucking strong. But you know, I don't need God's word to make my backbone strong. I just need to be strong-willed, independent, happy, firm in my beliefs and morals.
So she says that we need to be closed-minded to other ways of life, but then she just said that we need to find the love through God to accept people, even though you just told us to hate everyone.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that totally.
Yeah, we have to hate everyone, love everyone, and sit down and pray about everything and hope that movies and TV shows don't give us naughty thoughts about people or things.
Oh yeah, that's the problem. You know, that television gives me makes me get a little chub. You know, no matter what I'm watching, it's always sexualized.
You see a little bit of a curve on a lamp, and it's done.
Yeah, you know. Show me a cooking video, and as soon as I see that boiling water, whoo,
done.
Yeah.
Yes, they are all about the mixed signals. They absolutely are. It's just like last week when we were going over the article about Bethany being so sad seeing all the babies in the cribs, where she's talking about how terrible it is that these babies have to be in daycare, but then at the very end, she writes a postscript that says that she understands that not all moms can stay at home. Well, you just bitched about moms not staying at home.
Yeah. And instead of like helping society figure out a way to maybe have mothers be with their children more, she just said how wrong it was, not there's a solution or how maybe it could happen other than the husband's got to work. Well,
but she did say, that young Christian women that were reading that article should plan ahead so that they can stay home with their babies.
oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Work your ass off when you're 16. Save all of that money. Don't spend it.
Oh, but you can't do that. You're supposed to sit at home and pray for your husband.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So where's the money coming from, or how do you support yourself if you can't do these things? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. And you also can't plan for your partner unexpectedly passing away and leaving you as the sole provider. You can't plan for an unexpected divorce because you fall out of love with your partner, which happens. People fall in and out of love all the time. But, it's not biblical to fall out of love, apparently. I will never understand these women or their thoughts on being women, but it's okay because Thursday night, I am doing a fun stream here on the channel. We're going to just open up the room, let people come in, bullshit, watch random funny videos, and palate cleanse from this girl define stuff for a little bit. And then next week, we're going to talk about their thoughts on the Bible and mental health. So that ought to be a blast. Oh yeah, that it is very much an argument for raising the minimum wage, but what we need to do is have that minimum wage raised on a state by state level, because obviously raising the federal minimum will not stop states from having a lower minimum. Like my state, the minimum wage is $7.25 an hour, unless you're a server, in which case you make $2.35 an hour, because they expect you to get tips.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's just like in my case, with my parents, even my mom had to work, and so did my stepdad, and then so did my dad, and that's how much it took to raise 4 kids. Like you don't have the option anymore always, especially if you live in a place like San Diego, Denver, or other places. Both parents have to freaking work. I mean, There aren't very many careers anymore where the husband can make so much money, unless you're screwing over people or you were born into money or land or property or something, a job or a career, to be able to support a whole family with just one parent working. So
it doesn't work that way anymore. And
yeah, exactly.
I went over this last week. The cost of living has gone up so much. Inflation has caused everything to go up so much, but we as a society are still stuck in old ways when it comes to minimum wage and working wage. We are still stuck in massive inflation and high cost of living times. And then older people wonder, oh, why are you 29 and don't own a house? Why don't you have a family with 2 parents and multiple kids? Why aren't you doing these things that we did? Well, because we can't fucking afford it.
Yeah, and in the 1950s and throughout different times in history, pretty much I think from the 60s before, in the Americas, they were giving out land loans easy to white men who were working. If you just came over here, during the Wild West or the pioneer days and stuff, you came over here from another country, or you have been here and you went to, let's say, California, you could just sit on a plot of land and that was yours. There were handfuls of times in the past, and even people who are alive today, like my father, the first house he got was pretty much kind of given to him to some extent. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it was easy for him to just get a house, get that loan, go through all the paperwork, and I'm sure I think he said they gave him a discount or something. You know, like it was easy back then. Nowadays, the prices of houses are insane. Getting your mortgage is crazy, like 30%, 20%. Like, it's insane. Like, I'd rather just rent, and then if something breaks, have the person who I'm renting from have to fix it, and then I can move, and I don't have to be stuck anywhere. Like, I can keep
Yeah.
traveling, or move to another state if I want to, or move back to Denver, and not because I'm in Fort Collins right now. Moving around is something that fits my lifestyle, so I don't want to buy a house.
I mean, my mom, when she's 53, 2 years ago, when she had just turned 51, she decided to, quote, grow up and buy a house. And the only reason that she bought the house that she did is because it was in a rural area and she could get the USDA loan and get a better price on it, because buying anything in the city, just, it's too expensive. And the loans that are available for houses in the city are too much. It's not doable even when she's in her 50s. Like, and that's insane to me.
Yeah, I was mistaken. It was my grandpa's house that I think that they got the loan thing from, or they got help from the government or whatever a long time ago. I think it was during the Depression or something like that. So in the past, it was easier to become a homeowner or to have land or to get land than it is nowadays. And then if you want to build anything on your land, you have to go through the city. You have to have somebody come out and appraise it. Yeah, there's so many other things that happen that in the 1950s and 1930s, you could just build a house on land and nobody came by to check on if the wiring was right or, anything.
No,
So that's,
you could put up a little shack and call it yours, and no one would bother you, and you could live in your death shack.
yeah, exactly, if you wanted to. So it's a lot different nowadays than it was back then. So that's the other thing that they need to take into consideration, or that they forget, you know.
Ty, it's going to be Thursday night because tomorrow night I'm doing movie time with my kid. So, it's going to be around like 9:30 Thursday
Okay.
night, so I can make sure that, like, he's in bed and situated.
And then I will be before you doing the drunken news report. So
Awesome.
that'll be way earlier. It'll be either 2:30 or 3:30 tomorrow. And then today, I'm not sure if I'm doing 2:30 or 3:30 for Cookie, because Tuesdays I like to go to the bar and I get a $5 burger and I have a beer and then I go home. So I might do that before we start Cookie, just because I like to go out, and I like going out and talking with people. And but anyways, yeah, cool. And so 9-ish tomorrow. I mean Thursday.
Yes.
Okay. And then Thursday. Cool. I'll probably be in the side chat or join in or whatever for that as well. That'll be fun.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a great time. I'm really excited to just talk with everyone about all the random happenings and whatever videos they want to show that are within, TOS, that are just stupid and silly. Not worry about the lol cows, not worry about idiots like Girl Defined, just bullshit and have a good time with each other.
Yeah, I have a lot of funny videos that I can present or bring if you'd like. So yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And then one thing I would like to do with you as well, Mango. I have a handful of playlists that I make on YouTube that I share with people that are on conspiracies, funny videos, and other kind of subjects.
Yeah.
So I can help bring you content or give you content that you may be able to use as well. So I will message you some of those playlists, and if you want to use anything off of them, go for it. That's kind of why my news debunking thing is in my Discord, and I post all those is to give people content or to share that stuff. So,
Oh, wonderful. Yes, please send me those. I would love that.
sweet.
All right, so we've been going for about 2.5 hours, which is where I like to end it, just because it's a lot of shit, a lot of terrible shit, and everyone needs to decompress after. So I wanted to thank you, Slim, for being here, and everyone, please go subscribe to Slim. Be there for Cookie McSweet Tits because she's a doll.
We will be talking about AI dating, sex robots, and then the history of sex, including condoms and dildos and things like that they found in ancient sites. So we'll go over some fun stuff today.
Oh, I'm so excited for it. And as long as Small Human is cooperating, then I will definitely join in. And thank you to the side chat, all the people that participated, all the people that were just lurking and listening and absorbing the information. Thank you. And we will see you guys later this week.